I've had several people come here and tell me that they're okay and they wanted to make sure they got the news out here. But, I mean, look at this. We're looking at total devastation. Again, we are at the corner of Telephone Road and Southwest 4th Street. Over there, you can see the tornado tore through this area, ripped through this area. We have people coming on foot because all the roads leading in here are pretty much blocked up because people are trying to get through and they are being stopped and told if you want to see if everyone's okay, you're going to have to walk. But it's dangerous. We have power lines down. We have debris all over. It's a huge debris field around here. We were driving in, from Oklahoma City, and it's a parking lot trying to get through here. But I can tell you this, we have, horrible news here that just there on the corner, we know of at least 3 people whose lives were claimed in this tornado, and I'm sure we've got several more. Reporting live in Moore, Adriana Ivashinsky, News 9.
All right, Adriana, if you can hear me and check while you're on the ground down there, you might check on the bowling alley where I've been hearing some reports that I can't tell if they've set up triage there or if they have several people who are trapped at the bowling alley. It's kind of it's right by the Warren Theater. So if you can check that, we'll check back in with you.
And she's checking We'll have to check. We're about 4 blocks away from that, and getting to that is going to be a challenge, but we'll see what we can do. I mean, they've got a lot to do right here, and just all through Moore. It's horrible. Horrible. It's like a war zone out here.
All right. Adriana Ivashinsky reporting live for us, and we are continuing our coverage of this deadly tornado. You are watching live coverage at News 9 at 5 o'clock.
Let's get back over to Gary for an update on the storms that are ongoing. Gary?
All right, let's take a look at Storm Shield, and we'll see what storms are going and what warnings we have. The storm moving up towards Stroud. You guys, that one has had a tornado warning on it. We'll have to watch for it. It still has a circulation. It'll soon be passing into Creek County. Looks like it'll go south, you guys, in Stroud to your southeast, and then toward Depew and Bristow. So that one's just about to move out of Lincoln County. A few showers, thunderstorms across the metro, some west of Stillwater. They're not significant, some near Will Rogers. This one has intensified fairly rapidly near west of Purcell. It has probably some quarter-size hail with it, moving northeast 30 miles an hour, so it's going to affect Purcell and Lexington and maybe parts of far south Norman. Right now it's headed, looks like, just a little bit to the east of Lake Thunderbird. And this storm down here, a little bit disorganized at the moment. Showers, thunderstorms with it, no tornado warning. That one's gone, and could still have a tornado develop with these storms down near Ringling and Hilton moving toward the Ardmore area. But that's a very strong to severe. This one's still potentially severe. This one could produce severe weather. As far as strong tornadic circulations, none in central Oklahoma, except we still have a moderate circulation over here to the east of Oklahoma City, and it's moving on out. So that kind of updates where we are. Michael, you have anything?
Well, I was just going to mention, Gary, I think that tornado warning does continue until 5:15 for the storm that's back a little bit further to the east, but the rotation does not look real intense with it, Gary. That's the one that passed over Pauls Valley. Listen, we've had guys all around these storms, and they just dropped it. Okay, so this storm has some rotation, but it's very weak. Honestly, and so we haven't seen any tornadoes. We've had guys all over these, and this storm down here does continue quite intense down near the Red River. That'll be moving up toward Ardmore in about the next 30 minutes to an hour. So you guys at an Ardmore, just stay aware. Have any indications of a strong tornado or anything like that with it at this moment. So that, really, it looks like the most intense storm is the one up near Stroud. So, guys.
All right, Michael, thank you. We are also getting word from Briarwood Elementary School. This is the elementary school we've been watching so closely because it just looked like the school was destroyed.
It was flattened. It was really flattened. We're going to go to Carl Torp, who has an interview, has been talking with one of the teachers there. We want to see what the situation is there. Carl?
All right, just want to get you the latest on the school, Briarwood here. We made it to the school and you saw the damage out. I'm talking with now. I went to You were inside the school when the storm came through, the tornado came through. Where were the kids?
We were in our tornado meeting place. In the hall, some of them were in the classrooms, but we were all hunkered down, ready for it to hit.
When this tornado came through, describe what was happening to the school.
Carl, we do not have your audio very well. Let's go ahead and cut this, guys, and let's see if we can get this signal reestablished. Maybe we can turn it a different direction and get it a little bit better. This is a teacher at Briarwood Elementary, a school that was flattened by this tornado, and we heard they were digging kids out of the rubble down there. In fact, they were. going through it. And I think that's the video of Briarwood right there. We want to hear what the teacher says about where the kids were and how they survived this thing.
Any idea on the kinds of injuries we're seeing?
There's some head injuries and cuts and things like that, but things falling on us. But there was like a head injury, but I think she's going to be okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Kelly and Amanda, that's the latest from the school. Again, all the kids are accounted for, and the injuries appear to be minor right now, as we heard from a teacher.
Well, that is some good news.
Carl, if you can hear us, would you repeat what she said, because your audio was really spotty there for a moment, on where she said the kids were? Okay. Guys, and somebody relay that information to them. We'll come back. I'd like to know an explanation about how the kids survived their school being leveled like this, basically. The teachers and the staff there did a fantastic job. If all the kids are okay there, that's a miracle. It really is.
We're also getting word that Highland East Middle School got hit as well. No word on any injuries or the extent of damage there, but that's another school in the area that we heard was hit. Police also confirmed what Adriana Ivashinsky was telling us earlier. They do confirm 3 people dead there at the 7-Eleven store.
Yeah. Well, we know, sadly, that the number is going to go up because you can't have homes like that destroyed, cars like that destroyed on the interstate. And, it's such a difficult call for the schools at that point. Do you hold the kids? You don't want to let them out in school buses. You don't want school buses running out there in this weather either. And the safest place for them is going to be inside a building.
OHP now confirming that I-35 is still closed both directions north of Highway 9 in Norman and south of I-240. Again, I-35 is closed. They have a police command post they've set up at the Moore Community Center there at 4th and I-35. And they've also turned the Warren, which has also been damaged, but they've turned the Warren into a triage center for the injured because that's a location right there on the edge of some of that damage.
Now, we did get information back from Carl on how the kids survived there at Briarwood Elementary. He said the kids were in the hallway. That's where they always taught us to go, the hallway.
Right.
And you did the duck and cover drill, and that some of them were under their desks. And some minor injuries and 1 head injury, apparently, at Briarwood. But I'm telling you, if that's as bad as it is there, that is definitely a miracle.
And IMSA is confirming that all the kids are accounted for from that school. That is a miracle indeed.
Video on the right from earlier today, video on the left. I'm not sure where that shot is coming to us from. That looks like it's a mast cam shot from one of our live trucks. If somebody, if you can let me know where that is from.
Should be in the creek.
Is that the Orr family farm by any chance out there?
Yeah, that looks pretty accurate.
Well, we'll find out. But
We are getting word about the Orr family farm, though.
There's an aerial shot from a little while ago. Yeah, the Orr family farm took a hit. And that's a popular place for people to take field trips and big pumpkin patch and all sorts of stuff down there. I think that's it. 149th and Western looking east, that shot on the left. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
There are people taking now to social media, families trapped in their shelter, and they're asking for help getting them out. Because you can see if a shelter's underneath all that rubble, they're going to be having to dig for quite some time to get to those families.
Yeah, I think that shot on the left, it may be the Orr family farm. It is certainly in that area out there, 149th, and it's right there at that intersection as well.
The cell phone networks also, we're hearing, they are getting clogged down there just like the roads can. So we've been asked to relay to our viewers that if you are in the damaged area, to use text messaging whenever possible to communicate with your loved ones. That's going to use less bandwidth, if you will. Less information needs to be used when you send a text message. So if you're down in that area, it's going to free up some of the cell phone lines if you can just use text messaging opposed to calling. We definitely want to make sure the emergency responders can make and use and receive those life-saving calls that they need to today. So just if you're in that area, something to keep in mind. We're also hearing there is a Tinker Federal Credit Union there at Southwest 6th Street, and it has been, they say, considerably damaged, and it is closed indefinitely. We're getting our first view here of a lot of the damage in the Moore area. Kelly's currently listening to scanners and getting information. Our meteorologists are also tracking any other storms that might be popping up out there.
I'll tell you what they're doing right now. They're going neighborhood to neighborhood right now. I mean, they do that rush in, that initial check, looking for people who might have survived and are under the rubble. Now they're being more methodical about it. They're kind of taking the west side of Moore in a grid, and they're going neighborhood by neighborhood. They have several. They have the command post set up at Warren. They're calling for a search and rescue at the 4th and Tower. So this is what is going on right now. They're going methodically through the neighborhoods, asking if anyone has been hurt, if anyone needs to be transported, if every home has been checked, and then sending them to triage centers and so forth. A lot of the people, we remember this from the May 3rd tornado, a lot of the people were transported to hospitals in private vehicles, majority.
They're setting up a triage center at the Warren Theater right now, and maybe what we're looking at right now is just some person in shock, because we've seen a lot of that. When Michael Konopasek got there on the scene, he was one of our first reporters. He just said there are tears in people's eyes, and they're just running toward the devastation. They were running at the time toward the school. We can see Evan Anderson there. He's been in a hard-hit area. And if Evan can hear us, we'd love to get an update from him. Evan, if you can hear us, give us an update.
We are in the path to destruction. You've been taking live looks for the past couple of minutes. People are still in shell shock, as I was saying, and people are walking around right now, just taking a look down here. And I want to stress, because police are asking, if you do not live in this area of Moore, again, we're on Southwest 19th Street in Santa Fe, to not come over here and take pictures and things like that. But people are really trying to just figure out what's going on, where their loved ones are, make sure everyone's is accounted for. You're taking a look now at power lines completely toppled over, no power anywhere in this area. Walgreens completely obliterated over here. We talked to one guy who said his home completely wiped off its foundation, pushing his 2 dogs, had 2 children inside, said they were in there, rode out the storm. He took a look outside and saw the massive tornado literally going over his home. None of them were hurt so far. We do expect, though, as police are saying, multiple casualties after this. We expect to be out here a little longer, and just looking around, lots of dogs running around, reminiscent of any tornado seen. Looks a lot like about 13, 14 years ago, May 3rd, 1999. These 2 young guys here, where are you guys coming from?
Southmore. We were just going to check on our friends.
Okay, how's he doing?
Everyone's doing all right, I think.
Okay, anybody you know that got their homes?
My brother lives right down that way. His home doesn't look too good.
Okay, what about you?
Most of my friends, I don't know, I've just seen a lot of people walking. I mean, most people don't know how their houses are going.
So are you okay?
I'm fine. Okay? I just want to know where the OG&E trucks are so people can get their kids out of the 2 schools down here.
Yeah,
I've seen one in the last 3 hours.
People wondering, again, sir, what school? Sir, which school?
South Moore and then a grade school down there.
He said South Moore and another grade school down the street. Right from your house? What are you seeing across the street from your house, ma'am?
I live Westmore in 19th. Harvey, right here. Everything is gone. The school, some of it's still standing, but it's a lot of kids up there. I think it hit right when school was getting ready to get out. I crawled out.
This is Westmore. Which one? Westmore?
This is Westmore neighborhood here.
Okay, what's the school?
147.
Okay.
There's a lot of children out there, and there's a lot of officers up the street. Our street is totally gone. I don't know where my car is. There's a lot of people that were waiting on their children to get out of school, and the cars are smashed all into each other. Some of them burned, I think, and luckily I had a hole that I could crawl up out of. I was in my closet, and the dog was blocking me to get out. Get down. You dirtied him up. Okay.
So you were inside a closet. You wrote it out in the closet with your dog.
I crawled. I got out. I did call News Channel 4.
But now you're talking to News 9.
I know, but I called him desk. That's the number I know by heart.
We got to change that. So you're okay?
I'm going over here to CVS to get oxygen. I need oxygen. And it's hard to get it because they got other people up there. I did hear some woman might have lost a baby up there. I'm not for sure.
Take care. Thank you. A number of stories we're hearing right now. This woman here who rode out the storm in her home in Southmore neighborhood. We're getting reports of students trapped inside of this school. People are wondering where crews are, but again, they are out here, and they're working as fast and as hard as they can to get things somewhat normal, if that's possible at this point. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Evan, video on the right is of this tornado earlier as it was ripping across southwest Oklahoma City. I have been listening to the scanners, and I can tell you now, I'm beginning to get a clearer picture of some of the damage now. There's going to be quite a bit of damage on the east side of I-35 as well. It hit many homes on the west side, back west of the Warren Theater, hit the Warren Theater, crossed I-35, and then up in the 4th Street area, it kind of traveled parallel along 4th Street of Moore, past Tower Drive, past Broadway, over to Eastern. I just heard 2 Midwest City fire trucks and a Nichols Hills fire truck have teamed up, and they're going to canvass the area around 4th and Eastern, which is a half a mile to the east of I-35 in Moore. So right now I'm hearing a woman who's trapped in a bathtub, and I'm having a hard time understanding some of these streets, but a woman still finding people under debris down there.
Yes, they sure are, Kelly, and I want to pass along some information for people who have been displaced. If you know somebody and you're in communication with somebody that needs a place to stay, Graceway Baptist Church is available for anyone who's been displaced. They're at 1100 Southwest 104th Street in Oklahoma City. Graceway Baptist Church, they're taking anybody who's been displaced.
We have Betsy Randolph with the Highway Patrol with us on the phone. Betsy, tell us what the Highway Patrol is doing right now.
Brother, we are out in full force. We've summoned all of our help from all over the state to help us as we go house to house to search for victims. We know we've got people still trapped right now. We've obviously got a lot of congestion just in the city of Moore on the interstate. In fact, we've got I-35 shut down from Highway 9 going north and 240 going south, and both directions are shut down. We do have traffic that's at a standstill on the interstate and even off on our side roads. So we're asking folks to please stay away from the area if you can. We know that you're concerned if you've got friends, family, loved ones, or maybe even a house with pets. We understand all that. Right now, our main concern is getting to those people that are still trapped right now and hoping that we can save lives today.
Trooper Betsy Randolph, we saw some video earlier on from not too far from the Warren Theater there on I-35 where cars were just crumpled. Can you give us any update on the situation right after the tornado went through on the highways?
Well, I can just tell you, after being down here for the May 3rd tornado, I think this far exceeds that damage. The devastation that I've seen firsthand down here today, I just can't explain it. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Cars on top of buildings overturned, power lines down, people walking around bleeding. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. We've got so many people that are out moving around taking pictures. A few moments ago, I helped a lady that had some deep gouges in her back, washing those off and putting bandages on her, and then giving her a ride over to where the triage center is there at the Warren Theater. And she was telling me how insulted she was that people would drive by taking her picture. Guys, we can do better than that. We're Oklahomans where we don't take pictures of people that are hurt. We help people, and we don't need to be out in the way. If you see emergency vehicles trying to get around, remember, state law requires that you yield immediately to the right. Don't try to move a different direction thinking you're going to help them out. You yield to the right so we can get around you and get to these folks that are trapped and are desperate to get out from underneath this rubble tonight.
All right, Betsy Randolph, emotional plea there. I mean, it's something quite different, folks, when you are on the scene and see this and experience it. It's terrible enough watching it on your TV, but down there in it, it's heartbreaking. And Betsy, we appreciate the update. We'll check back in with you a little bit later. I want to ask the control room, what's the shot we're looking at on the left there with all the emergency vehicles? Do you know what street that is, guys? Whose mass cam that is? That's Santa Fe? That's 4th and Telephone. The headquarters, the command post is set up not too far from there. It's at Home Depot on 19th Street, kind of by the big Walmart down there.
4th and Telephone, that's going to be right near that 7-Eleven.
Right.
Where we heard earlier on, three people lost their lives. Also getting word at the Journey Church. They are also open as a relief center there. They have food, water, and also shelter. And so they wanted to get the word out that it's Journey Church in Norman.
Michael, let's come over to you and Gary and get an update on what's going on with the weather right now.
Okay, yeah, we can do that on Storm Shield. Let's take a broad view along the state. I have seen some new development up southwest of Stillwater. There's a severe thunderstorm 5 miles east of Mulhall, north of Guthrie. This thing could have some quarter-size hail and some winds to 60 with it as it moves up towards Stillwater. So we're still watching this area. It's still unstable. Temperatures in the 70s and dew points in the 60s. So these storms could still get quite severe. I'm going to back out and go back down to the south now. So we have another storm that's moving up the Turner Turnpike that's near Bristow. That one does have some rotation. Really nothing going on around the metro at all right now. A small storm that's down north of Purcell at this time. It's severe, could produce some hail, but at the moment it doesn't look too ugly at this particular time. This storm has been weakening north of Stratford, moving up towards southeastern parts of Pottawatomie County into Seminole County. We're keeping a close eye on it. Some other storms around Ada, those are not particularly strong at this time. The storm that's really probably the strongest in the state right now, as far as we're concerned, is west of Ardmore near Ringling and Hilton, and that storm does still have the potential for some very large hail with it. And also back to the south and west down near Waurika and Ryan, still an intense supercell down there, but the rotational part of that storm is actually south of the Red River at this time. So a lot of the area still seeing some thunderstorms. The good thing is they are nowhere near the intensity of what we've already seen today, nowhere close. So there's no large tornadoes on the ground to our knowledge at all with any of these storms. There's no tornadoes confirmed in anywhere in our viewing area at this time. So for those of you who may be concerned about storms, at this moment, it looks okay. Okay, so we'll continue to watch it. If it gets worse, we'll break right back in and let you know, guys.
All right, Michael, I want to pass along, because as we watch this devastation, as we have a chance to look and see what this deadly tornado has caused, we're all sitting here wondering what we can do to help. Well, we at News 9, we want to get involved, and we want you to as well. We're going to start accepting donations right here in our News 9 studios. And I'm going to give you a list of things that we know that they're going to need, and above all, cash is going to top that list. If you turn over cash to us, we're going to make sure we turn it directly over to the Red Cross for their Oklahoma relief. If you want to drop off a check here to the News 9 studios, we're at 7401 North Kelly, right at the corner of Wilshire and Kelly. The checks need to be written out to Oklahoma Relief Red Cross. That way that money's going to stay right here in Oklahoma. Now,
right, let's check in with Adriana Ivashinsky, who's been down in that area of 4th and Telephone Road down there in the Moore area. Let's check in with her now for an update. Adriana?
Hi there, Kelly. Yeah, we're still here at Telephone Road and Southwest 4th Street, and people are just walking all around here trying to literally take in all of this devastation. Many are just trying to make sure that their loved ones who lived in this neighborhood behind this 7-Eleven are okay. We've seen a lot of walking wounded. The worst that we've heard has happened right there at that intersection right there. That was a 7-Eleven, and I talked to a man who said he actually helped pull people out of that 7-Eleven, and there were 3 bodies that were found inside. He tells me it was a man, a woman, and a baby. So horrible news here at the intersection of Telephone Road and Southwest 4th Street when it comes to that. And also, we do have some good news. I've been approached by parents and teachers from the Agape Land Child Care Center that was located right across the street near the Moore Medical Center, and they tell me that everyone that was inside there made it out okay. All the children are okay. They were inside the building when the tornado hit, but they made it out alive, thank God. But you can see this is just a war zone out here. We've got power lines down. We have power poles barely standing up. It's just horrible. We've got emergency crews from all around. We've seen Edmond here. We've seen more police. Jones City are here as well, and people just walking from all around, seeing what they can do to help pull rubble off of people. 4 blocks away from us is where the Warren Theater is, and that is where they have set up a triage center, we understand. And the only way you can get there is to walk, but that is where they have set a triage where they are treating patients, and that is really where people can go to see if their loved ones, if their friends that live in this area, if they're worried about them. That is where you need to go. But the problem is this: all the roads in and around this area are either packed with cars trying to get through or blocked because of the devastation and because it's just dangerous to get around here. We've got a power line right down in front of us. Thankfully, it's not live and it's not arcing, but it's a dangerous situation out here. And right now, the best way to get around is by foot and try to stay out of the way of the emergency crews that are out here. It's just horrible. It reminds me so much of May 3rd, 1999, and almost worse because it's just unreal to see this all over again. It looks like a nuclear bomb went off right here. Kelly, back to you.
Yeah, the damage is incredible, and I got to tell you, from the aerials we have seen so far, the damage does look worse. That's a first glance at it, but the trail looks longer and wider, and it just looks like there's more devastation down there altogether.
We're going to get another look here. This is earlier on from Sky News 9, Bob Mills, Sky News 9 HD, but we're setting the chopper back up. There has been some flight restrictions in that area, and that's because they are desperately searching for anyone who may still be alive. They want to be able to hear the littlest of sounds. That's why they're asking all news helicopters to stay away from that area so they can hear any survivors. Right now, there are some parents who may be listening to our coverage, and you may know them. I need to pass along a message because they are probably incredibly worried right now. St. Anthony's South Healthplex. They have a 3-year-old little boy that came in from A Step Above Learning Center. Okay, they have a 3-year-old little boy there, and he knows the name of his parents, Keith and Melanie Thompson. They want us to pass along. If you are Keith or Melanie Thompson, you know them. If they hear this, they need to call the Healthplex Center. I'm going to give you the number, 272-7955. 272-7955. Again, a 3-year-old little boy has come in without his parents, but he is safe. He's at St. Anthony's South Healthplex. If you are missing some of your loved ones, there is a place you can go right now.
Yeah, the Red Cross has set it up, but I just went there, and there's people who have a chance can go there and register, but there's really, I didn't find much going on there yet.
Okay, I was going to say it's safeandwell.org, but as Kelly mentioned, it's probably too fresh, too new to have anything going on there. But again, if you're in that area, you may want a text message opposed to picking up the phone and calling. That's why it will help keep those phone lines open, those cell phone lines open for emergency personnel who's in that area.
Listen, the fire department down in Moore right now talking about Highland East, which is a school that was apparently damaged by the tornado, but their understanding is that there was no one hurt at Highland East. The kids were actually out waiting out front to go home after the tornado came through, but we know at least 2 or 3 schools down in the area were hit.
Just getting this information too, and this is the Oklahoma Standard right here. We're going to be hearing more and more about this. The University of Oklahoma is opening up spaces in their housing area for displaced families. So if you know someone or you are someone who has had their house damaged or destroyed, the University of Oklahoma, they do have housing there that they're going to open up for you guys. I'll pass along the number. You can write it down if you have a chance. 325-2511. 325-2511. That's going to be University of Oklahoma, and they're opening up houses for those displaced.
There's a flight down the damage line that Jim Gardner showed us earlier. I think the shot on the left, I think that's around 149th and Western. That may be the Orr, part of the Orr family farm down there. Let me, Amanda, go ahead for a second.
Sure thing. Kelly's.
I'm monitoring the scanner.
Now we're watching on the right-hand side, Bob Mills, Sky News 9 HD. These are live pictures. Jim Gardner is up in the air piloting Sky News 9. Jim, we are just looking, we've been looking at your video, and we are looking right now at this devastation of the track of this deadly tornado. Give us an update from what you're seeing.
That's right, Amanda, and it's a very large track, like Gary said. It was on the ground for about, I believe, almost 30 miles is the track. But it almost took the exact same track as May 3rd, 1999. The only difference is once it crossed I-35, it bent more easterly and went straight east towards Lake Draper instead of going up towards Tinker. Now, they have put up a flight restriction over this area, which is 3 miles and 2,700 feet AGL, which means we got to go up to 3,300 to 3,400 feet above to maintain clearance of that TFR, that temporary flight restriction that they put up over this area, because they were having a hard time with all the helicopters hearing for people cries for help, which doesn't bother me a bit. I would be more than happy to get out of the area and to get away to let these rescuers go in there and search for people. Right now they got the OHP Oklahoma City helicopters down there going way down in the rural areas, because like I said in earlier reports, even though the devastation is through here, out where it started down towards around Newcastle and stuff, a lot of rural areas, a lot of the homes are just completely gone through there also, and there's no emergency crews or anything down there, so we don't know if those people in rural areas are trapped or not. So